Hey everybody, welcome back to SHOREVIEWKEN, the 200th edition, as a matter of fact, of SHOREVIEWKEN, coming to you from the A button here in Akihabara, the retro game bar. We've got beer, we've got games, so we're in a really great mood. We've got Dennis, say hi.
Hey, yo.
And we've got Shinichiro behind the bar, working his ass off, keeping the place classy, and letting us shoot here. So thanks a lot, Shinichiro. And for this very special 200th SHOREVIEWKEN, I want to kick it up a notch. So I'm actually going to be reviewing one of my favorite 2D fighters of all time, and that is Marvel Vs Capcom for the Sega Dreamcast. And today we have a very special treat, because right here in the bar, we have a Sega Katana, the Sega Dreamcast dev kit. So as a special treat, first time ever on YouTube, we're going to review Marvel Vs Capcom on the Sega Katana. Let's do this! Doesn't work.
Marvel Vs Capcom!
Luckily, you don't actually need a Sega Katana to play this game. A plain old Dreamcast will do just fine, and those aren't nearly as rare or expensive, and neither is this game, which is more great news because it's actually my favorite out of all of the MVC games, which surprises some people who wonder why I would favor this game over MVC2, which seems to be the much more popular choice. And while I do love that game more than any grown man should, and I've sunk countless hours into it, this game has a little something that one doesn't, and that's something I like to call the 90s Capcom aura. There's just something about playing a 90s Capcom fighter that has a very special feel to it. It's a feeling that I haven't felt since then. A lot of it definitely has to do with the presentation, the visuals, and of course, the music. The original MVC was the last of the Versus games to strictly use 100% 2D assets, which I definitely prefer. Capcom did and still does make great looking 3D fighters, but nothing beats this beautiful sprite work. So when MVC2 used 3D assets for its stages with seemingly no connection at all to anything Marvel or Capcom, I wasn't a huge fan. Here we get beautifully detailed and colorful stages set in such locales as Avengers HQ, Strider Haryu's very cool dystopian future, the Daily Bugle, complete with discarded Spider-Man webs acting as a bridge for your characters, a scene straight out of a Mega Man game with Dr. Wily in the background screaming at you with a bullhorn, and the absolute coolest Darkstalkers bar complete with Zabel Zarok performing a killer guitar solo on stage, and for my money, nothing in the following games beats that. Of course, it wouldn't be a 90s Capcom fighter without a killer soundtrack, and MVC has one of the all-time greats. It's composed by Alpha Lyla, who was Capcom's in-house band at the time and composed of various musicians and sound designers who worked for the company, and they're credited with such great soundtracks as Street Fighter II, Mega Man X, and Final Fight. So it's safe to say that everything they touched turned to pure gold. MVC has an especially great soundtrack as it features revamped versions of classic themes from Street Fighter and Marvel superheroes, as well as some mind-blowing new themes for characters like Captain Commando and Strider Haryu. It's an amazing soundtrack from start to finish, and certainly outshines anything that was on offer in the sequel. Don't believe me? Then perk your ears and enjoy a few choice tunes from this glorious soundtrack. Now obviously, the key component to any fighting game is going to be the gameplay, and I think the original MVC has that in spades. Granted, it doesn't feature the massive roster that the second game does. You start out with 15 playable characters, but there are a bunch more to unlock, and while it's not a huge roster, I can say that every character included is enjoyable to play as. There really are no wasted slots here, and you get Onslaught as a final boss who is incredibly cheap, but also undeniably cool. This is once again a 2-on-2 tag fighter, but while you can't call in your partner for assist attacks as in previous games, you are given 20 additional assist characters to choose from that you can use a limited number of times in each round, and they can be extremely useful, especially when incorporated into combos. Also, you can still perform team super combos, but this time around, you can also perform the variable cross attack where both of your characters are on screen for a limited amount of time, and you have unlimited use of super combos for the duration of the variable cross. And exclusive to the Dreamcast version of this game is the 4-player Cross Fever mode, which, if you can get 3 friends to join you, is insanely fun. These additions to the gameplay, coupled with the already fast-paced and extremely frantic nature of a Capcom vs. Fighter, and factoring in the beautiful visuals, amazing soundtrack, and mountains of fan service for both Capcom and Marvel fans, makes this game an absolute classic that shouldn't be missed, and my favorite of all of the Versus games, whether it's on Dreamcast, the inferior but still fun PlayStation port, or via emulation on programs like MAME or Fightcade. Marvel Vs. Capcom is one of the best fighting games ever. But that is Marvel vs. Capcom for the Dreamcast, one of the best fighting games ever made. I absolutely love it, so definitely pick it up for your Dreamcast. There's the PlayStation version. I'm sure there are plenty of digital versions you can download and play online. One of the most fun 2D fighting games ever made. So that's it for this edition of SHOREVIEWKEN. Everybody, thank you for watching from the A button here in Akihabara. Remember, if you want to be like Jim, you play your games, you drink your beer, and be excellent to each other. And I'll see you next time, everybody. Goodbye. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more just like it, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to follow me on other social media, links are in the description to my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon, where you can receive things like Japanese snacks, manga, and video games in the mail every month. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.